Hello, welcome to the second video in the Mr. Chance Teaches series of videos that I'm working on. I'm putting these together for the students of the Holy House Academy that are in my Homer A and Homer B class. The topic for today's video, as you can see from up there in the corner, is subjects and predicates. And I have a sample sentence. That sample sentence says, "The knight charged on horseback toward the enemy." Ooh, exciting sentence, isn't it? Now, when I'm analyzing a sentence, there's two ways I do that in class. I analyze sentences through what is I refer to as classification and through diagramming. And I'm going to do classification first. So when I am classifying a sentence, the first thing that I do, and this seems a little counterintuitive perhaps, based on the order that I see things presented in almost every English book I've ever looked at. But what I like to do is I like to identify the prepositional phrases first. Because prepositional phrases are, they're like decorations. They're nice, but we don't really need them to have a sentence. And there are two prepositional phrases in this sentence. There's on horseback, that's sentence number one. Prepositional phrase number one. And then there's prepositional phrase number two, which is toward the enemy. And you see I put those in parentheses. Right? This lets me know that no part of a prepositional phrase will ever be the subject or the predicate of a sentence. It might be part of the subject, it might be part of the predicate, and we'll get to that distinction in just a little bit. Now I'm left with three words: the knight charged. And I ask myself, well, what's the verb? What is the action in the sentence? And well, that's charged. So I'm going to underline the verb twice, because it seems like the verb's kind of important. Since it was the first thing, I underline it twice. Charged. Then I ask who or what charged, and obviously that's the knight. That means the knight is the subject of the sentence, and since knight is a noun, that's the subject noun, which we abbreviate as SN. Now, you might remember this from my first video where I talked about noun jobs, that nouns have jobs in sentences, and one of those jobs is subject noun. We also have two other nouns in this sentence: horseback and enemy. That's an object of the preposition. And that's an object of the preposition. That's their job. Object of the preposition. So, pretty simple. That's the sentence classified. That's really all, at least at this point in time, I'm asking students to do when they classify a sentence, is identify the subject noun and identify the objects of the prepositions. Now I'm going to diagram this sentence. Okay? Diagram the sentence. And to do that, I'm going to get me a nice little arrow here that I can use as a pointer. Okay, this long horizontal line here, that's the baseline. That's the baseline. And this line right here that divides the baseline into two parts, I'm going to call that the dividing line. I'm very clever, the dividing line. And what the dividing line does is it divides the subject, everything over here is the subject, from the predicate, which is over here. Now, let me make that arrow go away arrow. Now, keep in mind that I am kind of using these terms somewhat interchangeably, all right? And I really should be a little more precise at this point in time. There is the simple subject and the simple predicate. And the simple subject is that word that is the subject of the sentence. So in this case, in our sentence, the knight charged on horseback toward the enemy, the simple subject is knight. Knight. That's it. Just knight. And the simple predicate is just the verb. So in this case, it's charged. Boom. That's my basic framework of my sentence. Knight charged. A sentence has to have a subject. It has to have a predicate. There we have it, night charged. If that's all I had on the page, well, that would, like, it's not a great sentence, but it's a sentence. Okay. Now, the parts that are underneath, let me get my arrow back. The parts that are underneath, these parts that hang down from the baseline, these are modifiers. Modifiers that either go with the subject or with the predicate, with the simple subject or the simple predicate. Anything that goes on a slanted line is not a noun or pronoun. Well, in most cases. Don't overthink it right now. There's different types of pronouns. Right now I'm talking about subject pronouns and object pronouns, but there's no pronouns in this sentence, so not even sure why I brought them up. I guess in the interest of completeness. Now, at this point in time, we run into a limitation of my program here, that I can't type on the diagonal. Okay. Normally, when I would diagram a sentence, I would write diagonally. Okay. Well, on this diagonal line, we would put the. Right? Because the is a type of adjective. And it goes with the word night. It answers, in a way, it answers the question, which night? Well, the night, right? Not just any night, but the night, okay? These other frames that are hanging below my baseline here are for prepositional phrases. The preposition goes on the diagonal. So on is going to go here, and toward is going to go here, okay? And keep in mind, I should be writing those diagonally, but I can't do that with this program. Sorry. Anyways, the horizontal part is where the OP, where the object of the preposition goes. So horseback would go here because on what? On horseback. Very good. And then over here would be enemy. Toward what? Toward enemy. Which enemy? The enemy. Now I've got my whole sentence set up. And this brings me to my next distinction. The simple subject, right, keep in mind, the simple subject is just night. The simple predicate is just charged. Okay, but that's not all of the words in this sentence, obviously. Right? We also have the complete subject and the complete predicate. There we go. And the complete subject is the subject noun or the subject pronoun, depending on your sentence, and all of the words that go with it. In other words, well, that was weird. My mouse had the hiccups. The complete subject is everything on this side of the dividing line. So for this particular sentence, my complete subject is the night. And the complete predicate is everything on this side of the dividing line. So my complete predicate is obviously charged on horseback toward the enemy. Let me make that box a little bit wider. Ooh, it's like magic. The words move. All right. So complete subject, complete predicate, as distinct from simple subject and simple predicate. The English grammar worksheets that I will be giving out, one per week, have exercises somewhat like this on them. And so this video should be very helpful for completing those worksheets. As always, if there are any questions, I can be reached by email. Thank you very much and have a great day.